Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys. And I think we can now all say that the Arrowverse is back and it's good to see it back, Missed it quite a while. It definitely came out much later than it was supposed to, but hey, we're getting things back now that, well, the pandemic is still a big problem in this country. But regardless, as they say, the show must go on. And to start off the Arrowverse is Batwoman, which is shocking enough because not a lot of people liked Batwoman. But, you know, can I just say the premiere episode of season two was really freaking good? Like, I'm not going to BS you. It was really freaking good, and I in fact enjoyed this episode, um, because it tied some things up to it definitely connected to season one, and that was the one issue heading into the season was how were the Batwoman showrunners, how were they going to tell a consistent story from season one to season two with the fact that Ruby Rose eventually left the cast, with the drama and the issue going on in that aspect and stuff like that. Um, you know, to have a new woman come in and essentially have a brand new character made up and how it ties in to this storyline. And I thought they did a pretty good job in introducing Ryan Wilder, played by I believe her name is Javicia Leslie. I don't know if I'm saying it right. How they brought her character into this and you know made her character just as integral to the plot point to the story as Kate Kane's character. Like I said, Ruby Rose left, and yeah, was it a bummer that she left because you can't continue the main story, which really was the whole Kate Kane, Alice slash Beth storyline going on, as well as the dad storyline. If the dad would eventually find out if she was Batwoman, yeah, those whole things would have to probably more than likely come to a halt. Um, but if there was issues going on there, then listen. I don't know if I made a past video about the Ruby Rose situation, but my only thing is, well, she signed up to do this role when it was her time to do that role, and if she didn't, like it, then again, my question is the point in signing up for a main lead role. So listen, I thought Ruby Rose was fine in the role as Kate Kane. A lot of people did not like Batwoman. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's just in fact the truth. I'm one of honestly the few people that actually liked Batwoman from beginning to end. I honestly enjoyed it. Yeah, were there problems, in the show, but like every show, it's not perfect. Every show, even the best, has its problems and stuff like that. I still thought Batwoman season one was actually pretty good. You know, I honestly thought it was pretty good. No lie. The story was actually like I got behind the story. Like the story was really good. I thought the other characters were pretty convincing characters. Yeah, where there's some characters were like, it kind of irks you, but yeah. But I thought season one of Batman was a pretty good season. Again, you can put in the comment section that what are you talking about? It was really good. It sucked. It was trash. Because they forced things that stuff like that. Yeah, is the forcing the stuff like a little bit overblown? Yeah, but okay, if you just move that aside, you can just really focus on the story. It was actually a pretty good story that they were telling here. And if not, you have one of the best stories with, Alice coming out as probably one of the best Arrowverse villains of all time, up there with the ranks of, um, the Reverse Flash, the first guy in Arrow season one, I forgot his name, Malcolm Merlin, Deathstroke, you know, I put Alice in that tier because she's great, and this episode further just shows that Alice is just a freaking crazy villain and stuff like that. But you know, I enjoyed season one, and I was always questioning how are they going to do season two, because that was the one question: how are they going to do season two? Because I'm like, so Ruby Rose left. Are they going to just recast Kate Kane's character, or are they going to cancel it? And when we found out that, oh no, they're continuing this, they're just going to continue this with a new character. I was kind of on the off because I'm like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to tie in all this stuff? And to shock, they actually freaking did this episode pretty fairly well. And to people who didn't like Batwoman, who are going to check out this first episode to get a thought of how season two was, or an idea of what the story of season two is going to be, as well as just your first thoughts of season two, I would say if you come into this episode with an open mind and not freaking just have the complete hatred of season two you had, I mean, of season one you had in the past season for this show, um, I would think that you would definitely say that the start to season two is actually a pretty good, actually pretty bright start for this series. And it seems like this series is definitely going to be, I would say, in some people's viewpoints, is going to head in the right direction and actually, I would say, be better than most people's will take. And if it's just going to take people saying, there was some issues here and there, but it was just a solid season and it was actually good, to I guess the most of the part of the series, then that's good. And I think that's what Batwoman's going to try to do. Obviously, get that fan base, but I don't think Batwoman really cares about what the other people, what the haters are saying. And I would not be shocked. I didn't see on social media, but I wouldn't be shocked if there were people that were, hating on it because their hate just translate instead of coming into this show with an open mind, with a new main lead and just continue some story points and stuff like that. And I honestly believe if you go into this season two, episode one, episode, and you watch it for the first time with an open mind, and if you have watched it, go back and watch with an open mind. And if you look at this stuff, what they gave in this episode leads you to believe that okay, it seems like it's a good start. It looks definitely really good on where it's going. The story is going to be, seems like it's going to be just inconsistent, and the storyline is going to be obviously Ryan's storyline, and then the whole thing, what happened with Kate Kane. I'll talk about the Kate Kane type of storyline after my review. So yeah, anyways, this is Batwoman season two, episode one, titled "What Happened to Kate Kane." We actually start off the episode with our new character, Ryan Wilder, who's chilling in her, I guess, SUV or her trailer, and she sees this plane crash happen, and we get flashbacks to her backstory, and we see that apparently her family member died or something like that. Now Luke and Mary are hearing about this whole plane crash and stuff like that, and they're trying to get in contact with Kate, but she's not answering. Now Luke actually goes on to say that she went to National City. We later find out on the reason why she went to National City. And then that's when when Luke's kind of leading up to the events of what happening with the plane, he kind of deducts that the plane crashed, or she sees that the plane crashed, and apparently Kate was on that airplane and she was apparently dead and stuff like that. So, and the whole thing, you have Commander Kane, I forgot his name. I forgot his first name. Her dad comes in and he's trying to look, along with Sophie, for the body, and they can't find it. So the next day, Luke and Mary are talking more about this, and lo and behold, Bruce Wayne shows up in their face. Now, if you remember back to season one, at the end, we see that's not really the real true Bruce Wayne. That's actually Thomas Elliott's Hush. Now, I'll talk about how they handled, the Tommy Elliott, the Hush being Bruce Wayne storyline here, because I feel like a lot of people were probably turned off the fact that they didn't keep it going and they just figured out they just, did this in only one episode. But I think I'll explain at the end of the review. I'll give my reason to why they only did this Hush storyline for one episode. So yeah. What we know is that Hush is pretending to be Bruce Wayne so he can get his hands on the kryptonite and stuff like that, because of kryptonite, the Batsuit is weak to kryptonite. Anyways, Mary gets a call. She has to go meet up with her dad and stuff like that. Now, one thing we do find out some little information that Ryan is actually a former convict, and she's having a hard time paying these fines she's been given because she can't end up getting a job. We also do find out that she has a background in martial arts. So again, to the people, especially when I get to the Batwoman scene, the people who were complaining like, how the fuck can she fight already in her first, stint as Batwoman? Your answer is right there, people. She has a background in martial arts. You might need to open your ears up and pay attention to the scenes instead of just being blinded with pure hatred. They just give you a reason to why she can kick butt. She has a background in martial arts. There you go. Anyways, one of the things is they do say apparently that Kate could have, the plane crash, landed in the other half of the plane landed in the river and stuff like that. And they're saying that Kate could be in that river, potentially drowned, and stuff like that. But the dad, compared to the Beth situation, he's doing anything within his power to look for Kate Kane and stuff like that. Now, we come over to Luke and Bruce, who is Hush. And Hush essentially spoils the fact that he knows that Alice is Beth. And Luke's like, wait, you know that Alice is Beth? And he's like, well, she's my cousin, so whatever. So he's kind of starting to screw up, but Luke doesn't pick up on it quickly like, say, Julia does later, and stuff like that. And he's looking through all the stuff and things like that. And I think this is when he's first also revealed to see that, oh wait, Bruce Wayne is Batman? Wow, he's got all this technology and stuff like that. And then that's when he brings up the fact, like, wait, where's the suit and stuff like that? So yeah. We also find on the scene that Kate flew to National City to ask Kara Danvers, which we know is Supergirl, to see if it was okay to destroy the kryptonite and stuff like that. So yeah, but we later find out in the episode it was actually Luke that told Kate that she should probably go see Kara to see if it's all right to do that, even though Kate was kind of reluctant to do that. So okay, tying in some things of why she was gone and everything makes more sense now. Okay, now this is when we also at the same time see Ryan put on the bat suit and stuff like that, and this is when you get her first suit up scene. Now at first I was a little iffy because when I was watching the scene I was a little iffy because she was doing the whole thing Batman and Batwoman does, the whole type of come down on the thing, and she was using the gadgets. I'm like, first things first, I'm like, one, I kind of have a little bit nitpick, a little bit critique how she's using the gadgets that effectively. She shouldn't know how to use it, but then they kind of show the inexperience she has, as well as her having no knowledge of what the batsuit really does. Because like she presses one button and a freaking batarang just shoots out in this guy's freaking thigh. He's like, "Damn, what the hell did you do that for?" And stuff like that. And even she goes up to the one dude, the one last remaining guy. She's like, "Listen, I don't know what this thing does, so tell me what's going on and stuff like that." And it seems like she's looking what it seems like for the people who killed her mother and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm guessing that's what she was doing. Now, this is when we cut back over to Bruce Wayne's home, his mansion, and Hush, after sleeping with two girls who, again, is who we know Bruce Wayne to be essentially, let's just say, a playboy model. He goes there, he walks downstairs, and he runs into Alice. Yes, Alice. And can I just say this, man? I forgot to put down the actor's name. I'll make sure I'll get it next week. But I would say the one thing, even if you hated season 1 and you watch season 1 in its entirety, the one thing you can take away and say that was probably the best thing about season 1 was the actor who played Alice. She was phenomenal as Alice. You cannot deny that. She was phenomenal. She really played the part of Alice as a crazy psychopathic type of girl, who was traumatized after almost, death speculation. She did that role really good, and I commend her, and she did a phenomenal job in this episode. Like, bruh, when it was revealed the plan, what it was to do to kill Kate, it was really fucked up to the point even Hush is like, what the hell is wrong with you? Because he's like, didn't you want your sister dead? So why are you looking like you're mourning about this her death? And Alice is like, yeah, I wanted her dead, but I wanted her dead the way I wanted to do it. And what we find out this plan is the reason why she wanted to get the kryptonite is to eventually get it to her dad. And we know that the dad didn't like Batwoman, and what she was her whole plan was to have the dad use the kryptonite after knowing that the kryptonite weakens the bat suit, be able to shoot Batwoman with the kryptonite, I guess, infused bullet, eventually be able to kill her, and then have Commander Kane rip off the mask, only to be revealed that it was Kate and he killed his own daughter. I heard that plan, and I was like, oh, she's just a sociopath, crazy person. You're telling me, oh, she wanted to kill Kate, yes, but she wanted to do it in a way where the dad killed the daughter to make the dad probably go insane and stuff like that. Which I'm like, that's all sorts of, and that's it. That's all sorts of insanity. Again, the scene acted by the actor who played Alice was phenomenal. And on top of it, one of the freaking girls Hush was sleeping with, she gets off this freaking dagger and just chucks it at her neck. I'm like, what? I'm like, they're not holding back. I'm like, Alice is crazy. She is not playing no more. Oh my god. I saw that. I'm like, yo, Alice is legit. I'm sorry. Alice has to be that character where they cannot kill. Just put her in Arkham after her story is done, but they cannot kill her. That the actor that plays Alice, I swear, they can't kill Alice's character off. Alice is probably, I don't care about a shadow of doubt, is the number one best thing about this show. You can hate this show and say Alice is the best thing about this show. Alice is the best thing about this show because she's actually a crazy ass villain. That is one thing I will take to my grave when it comes to defending this show is the fact that Alice is actually really freaking good and she is up there in the best CW DC villains rankings. And if you say she's not, I don't know what the heck you are smoking, but you are insane if you really believe that because Alice is phenomenal as a villain. And that's why it sucked when I heard that Ruby Rose was leaving because I'm like, I really wanted to see how this storyline ended between the sisters and stuff like that. So, yeah, but they kind of also resolved the fact where Kate stood in grounds of saying she kind of gave up on her sister because she's like, well, I can't change her and stuff like that. So, yeah. Now we see that Sophie also is struggling with the death of Kate. She eventually goes to Kate's apartment and she runs into Julia Pennyworth. And eventually there's the safe where Kate had something to give to Julia that she can't give to nobody else. And obviously she didn't give to Sophie and stuff like that. Now, when Luke and Kate when Luke and Mary see that the bat suit is online, they actually run into Ryan Wild. They run into Wild, and she essentially gives this speech where you can kind of feel for her, and stuff like that. She just she goes through a rundown of everything she's been through in her life, and I guess you can say how wrong she's been over her time and stuff like that. And then she's like, "Well, that's too bad because I'm taking this," and she kind of goes off with the suit. So yeah. Now, what is it? What happened? We later get her backstory and stuff like that. Now, Hush is there in the Crows. Now we see Commander Kane, and apparently Commander Kane's not. I guess I don't know if they said this in season one, but I think they did. But it further shows that I guess he's not a fan and he doesn't like Bruce Wayne. And he's even like, why are you just show up out of nowhere and stuff like that? And he's like, listen, I'm looking for my cousin. So yeah. Anyways, Julia also runs into Bruce, and eventually by the time that talk is up, she sees that something's up. And we later find out she does find out something's up. Now, when Mary is going through who Ryan is, we find out that one, her biological father died before she was born. Her mother died of childbirth. She was later adopted into another person who she considers her mother, who and stuff like that. But before all that, she served 18 months in prison for a convicted crime. I didn't hear much what she was convicted of. I think it had something to do with drugs. and stuff like that. And eventually, when she got, her adoptive mother helped her get out of this whole situation and stuff like that. So serious, dude. Okay, sorry for that quick cut. My freaking laptop recording this died. Anyways, as I was saying, Ryan's family, her mother got attacked, and we find out what the heck was going on and stuff like that. She served 18 months in prison as a convict because of like drug issues or something like that. And then because you see earlier, her mom, her adoptive mother, and her were about to move into this apartment, and because there was like some shady dealings going on, and it was like some sort of secret hideout of what room they were going in. They essentially her mother, and the landlord all got jumped by this gang, and the landlord and her mother died. What we find out is how they tie in Alice to this Batwoman or to Ryan's Batwoman is the fact that guess what? The people who attacked them were linked to Alice, and luckily Alice came in there when the other people were kind of kicking Ryan and almost looking like they were about to probably kill her. She's like, "What the hell are you guys doing? We weren't supposed to do nothing." And you see Ryan look at Alice and see that Alice was the one behind this. So now you have a connective tissue of the reason why Ryan wants to seek vengeance against Alice, which okay, much more better explains the story, goes on. Now it ties in and stuff like that. Now, anyways, after this whole thing, Luke blames himself for the accident with Kate because, like I said earlier in this review, Luke was kind of the instrumental person in making Kate go to National City about this incident. They eventually get a text from Julia, and essentially Julia, when they meet up with her, say that after her encounter with Bruce, because he didn't know the code name or the code word, which was Eagle, and then he also said another thing like, "Oh yeah, I'll contact Alfred," in a way that Bruce probably wouldn't say. She managed to run a breathalyzer test because his breath smelled of alcohol. And when she got the results, it showed that it was actually Thomas Elliot. And this is the point where Luke is pissed. He's like, "I can't believe I did that." Also, too, Hush also has the little shard of kryptonite and stuff like that. And in the meantime, you see, because you see in this also scene, Ryan's reading the newspaper about who Kate Kane was as a person, and now that she also knows that she's Batwoman, she's like, "I'm not up to the mantle of doing this." So then she hooks on the online switch to alert Luke and Mary to go pick up the suit. But in reality, you have Hush coming down and seeing that the bat suit is activated, and he's going there, and he actually shoots open some rocks. He finds the Batmobile, and he manages to frickin' take it and go after Ryan, which then presumes to be a chase scene and stuff like that. And when that happens, I was like, "Geez, Louise!" Now, what happens is, in this entire chase scene, eventually, Luke gets into the mainframe of the Batmobile, hacks into it, and then presumably makes freaking Hush stop dead in his tracks. Then, which gives Ryan enough time to put on the Batsuit and eventually beat Hush. But the one thing is, she takes a shot, which was the shot with the kryptonite in it. She takes a shot and she manages to go down and beat the freaking ever living hell out of Hush. Honestly, it was like, dang. And they showed his face. It was all sorts of beat up and messed up. I'm like, damn, she mocked him like bad. So yeah. Anyways, after that whole thing, Hush goes back to Arkham Asylum, and stuff like that. When Ryan comes back to drop off the suit, Mary tries to get her to come into the fold because the thing about Mary is she can relate to what Ryan went through because Alice is kind of the same type of killer, not like directly the killer of Ryan's adoptive mother, but still something connected to Alice killed her mom, and Mary can relate to that because we know from season one, Alice was the main factor that killed her mom and stuff like that. And she probably wants to help Ryan, not try to seek out vengeance like she tried to do in season one and stuff like that. And I feel like she can write it. So that's another good thing that you can tie, Mary and Ryan together on the fact that both their mothers in their life were killed indirectly by Alice and stuff like that. So you can have, this connection between the two as the season progresses, as, kind of like I would say best friends / sisterly type of characters to each other. So I like that thing. Now the one thing too is Luke makes a mention like, wait, you got shot with the kryptonite and you still live? That should have killed you. And it just goes to show, and Ryan's like, well, I guess I'm tougher than that, huh? So yeah. And the thing is, Mary actually goes after like, hey, you must have a wound. Let me check that out. And she's like, no, it's okay. I'm fine and stuff like that. So yeah. Now she doesn't she tells Luke and Mary she doesn't consider herself as a hero because of that whole what Kate has done and stuff like that. Now, Julia, what is it, in the Crow's home base, goes to Sophie and asks if she's still in love with Kate. And essentially kind of, in a way, it shows that Sophie is still like, in love with her. She just hasn't committed to it fully and stuff like that. Again, I don't know what they're going to do with that storyline if, she did like Kate. Again, I'll get into that later. What happens is Sophie eventually gives the thing that was in Kate's safe, and essentially it was a letter to Sophie. Julia gave Sophie a letter from Kate that was in the safe, and when Sophie opens up and reads it, that's when the letter essentially says that from Kate to Sophie that she loves her, and then the fact that that she told her that she was Batwoman. Also, too, I forgot, early in the episode, we get a very good scene between Commander Kane and Alice. And essentially, this was when Alice is like, Kate was Batwoman. And hold on for a second, guys. Okay. Sorry for that. I was talking about the Alice and Commander Kane scene. Okay. That scene was funny. Anyways, that was the scene where Alice tries to tell her dad that Kate was Batwoman. But the funny thing about that scene, which I was utterly dying, is when she said, Kate is Batwoman. The dude, I think his name's Jacob. He looks at Alice and he's like, and I'm the Joker. I was dying. I literally lost my mind because that scene was so freaking funny. I lost it there. But the thing about that scene was, well, Alice goes on to say, well, if you don't believe me, then you might as well freaking put out the bat signal. And if she doesn't come, furthers my point. So yeah, and he does do that at the end of the episode, and he sees no Batwoman coming. So I'm guessing that's going to further, I guess, show that maybe he now kind of sees that Kate is really Batwoman. But again, he might not believe it because he's coming from her crazy daughter. And then you just see this ending where you just see all the people that were close to Kate, just obviously an emotional wreck after all that because she's apparently again presumed dead and stuff like that. So yeah, Alice also does get a little newspaper airplane sent to her by Sophia saying, consider us even. So yeah, and also to show how crazy freaking Alice is, she's literally talking to Mouse, just his dead corpse, talking to Mouse, essentially saying all this crazy stuff and saying that there's going to be a war coming. So I wonder if she's going to be going to war with Sophia, who apparently was hinting who might be the main big bad of this season, and stuff like that. And then the last scene, it cuts over to Ryan, and she removes her bandage and goes to see that the wound is kind of deep, as well as the fact that it seems like the kryptonites are starting to affect her skin in some sort of way. And that's where the episode ends off. I thought the season premiere for season 2 was really freaking good for this show, and I can't wait to see the storyline. Now, um, well, I can't wait to see how this Ryan story goes. Now, in the thing of how the Kate Kane character, the big question is, well, is Kate Kane dead? Is Kate Kane still somehow alive? Now my thing is this. I feel like what they might do is they might, bring Ruby Rose back for like maybe 1 or 2 episodes to close up the season to prove that you know she is alive, and if they do that to bring her back to prove that she's alive, then they'll just make her character essentially, I guess you can say, walk away and end her time in Batwoman and close up her Kate Kane's story where she hands off the mantle of Batwoman to Ryan's character. And again, like I said, they're probably gonna have to have Ruby Rose come back again. It's up to her. It's up to Ruby Rose if she wants to do that. Like, not every actor has to go back to a show they kind of had a bad falling off of. But if it's like for 2 episodes and just for quick scenes and it's nothing really huge, maybe Ruby Rose will come back. I have a feeling like she might come back, maybe if the money is right and if she's like, well, if I'm only going to do these episodes and that's it, and you don't call me back, I'll do this. Well, like I said, it's up to Ruby Rose, but I feel like they might go that direction where they'll bring Ruby Rose back. To essentially end off the Kate Kane storyline, prove that she's alive, and again with the note that Sophie said and the whole speculation that Sophie still is in love with Kate. This could also maybe mean that maybe Sophie's character will also be written off the show, and they'll just maybe, I guess, have Julia Pennyworth come in as the Sophie replacement, and just have, I guess, Sophie and Kate just walk away and live happily ever after together in another city. They could do that route too. We're just going to find out what happens this season. Otherwise, if nothing goes down the way they want it to, again, they can always just say that, well, she confirmed dead. But I really do believe my first theory, the fact that they'll bring Ruby Rose back to finish off the Kate Kane story in terms of that stuff, just bringing her back and saying like, no, I'm alive. This wasn't cut out for me, and I saw what you did, and I think you do a good job as Batwoman to Ryan, and she walks away and stuff like that. And you don't have to bring Ruby Rose back again and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought this premiere of season 2 was really good. I enjoyed it. And it definitely, for Batwoman, it definitely looks bright for the future of where this show is headed. So yeah, other than that, that's all I gotta say. So if you guys like this video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this episode review for Batwoman. Your thoughts on Javivica Leslie as Ryan Wilder and as the new Batwoman. Do you think will the CW and the Batwoman showrunners bring Ruby Rose back to close off her story near the tail end of the season, and stuff like that? And how are you liking it so far up to this point? Is it promising, or do you feel like you're still gonna not like it? So just put that in the comment section. Again, hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Batwoman and other CW show content. I'm going to be doing reviews for the Superman and Lois show, The Flash season 7, Supergirl in its final season as well. I'm also going to try to be more consistent with my reviews for these, because I know last time I reviewed the CW shows, I was very lazy and very inconsistent. Like, I would be missing all sorts of freaking episodes and stuff like that, to the point where I just kind of gave up. But this season, I'm going to make sure I review every freaking episode of every freaking show, and get it up to YouTube. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, and hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. So till then, guys, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace. Okay. I almost forgot, but one, I have to freaking say this. I forgot to bring up about the Thomas Elliott stuff. I feel like another criticism, well, okay, there's actually 2. I feel like another criticism of this episode is going to be how Ryan just came across the Batsuit, and why would the Batsuit be there? Okay, yes, you can put that as valid criticism and be like the fact, like, okay, yada yada yada. Why would she just randomly come across the bat suit and stuff like that? Okay, but it's like it's not a big deal. But yes, I can see where people are coming from. More people will probably also criticize the fact that, bro, like, why didn't she just give up the suit when she had, the chance to and stuff like that, because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing and stuff like that. Well, yeah, but you know, they give the reason to why, you know, they give the reason why she didn't, because of, everything she's been through in her life. And then I also feel like, to end off this thing too, this quick little thing, I feel like another thing why people are going to, I guess, be turned off as well, is because the whole, I feel like people are gonna criticize the whole Thomas Elliot Hush being Bruce Wayne plot line, saying, why did they finish this Hush, Bruce Wayne storyline in only one episode? And I'll tell you guys why. You see, the reason why they finished up this Hush storyline in this one episode is because I feel like with this current cast of characters, they can't do that for the next, couple of weeks / maybe the entire season, because guess who's not here? Ruby Rose isn't in the show anymore, and she's not playing Kate Kane. If Ruby Rose was going to be in the series, they could have kept this storyline going forward, and maybe the entirety of the season, or maybe for, like, I would say the first half of the season. And yes, it's definitely a bummer that we can't see, Kate Kane and Bruce Wayne see each other. But who knows? This could also open the door for Bruce Wayne to make an appearance down the road too. Again, yeah, the only reason why they finish that storyline that quick is because if Ruby Rose was in this season, they would have had this thing longer, because they would have had the family dynamic and stuff like that. And that's the reason why they ended it in this episode, because why have this astringent plot where you have these characters act like complete idiots of the fact that how can they not tell that Bruce is acting differently? Which, if they kept that storyline going on in this season going forward, if he still wasn't discovered, a criticism would be of, well, why are these people so dumb not to realize that Bruce Wayne isn't the Bruce Wayne they should know? And why is he, they're not on to the fact that he's acting weird. It's the same thing with the same people who said, why'd they end the friggin' Hush storyline? It'd be like, can't you guys, like, understand what they're working with? Because Ruby, and this is the thing that hurts, this is the thing that hurts the show, with Ruby Rose just dipping and leaving. They couldn't keep that huge storyline. So what I'm guessing was probably going to be a huge storyline going to this season, if Ruby Rose was still Batwoman as Kate Kane. They would, I think, they would have kept it going for a while, but because of the whole incidents, they couldn't keep it going. Honestly, they could bring him back. Hush back is just regular old Hush with the bandage mask, but it sucks, and I guarantee you that it sucks for that actor too, because I bet they said he was going to probably have a bigger role going into next season, but to see that it was kind of a miniaturized role. Like, we don't even know if the same thing would have happened if Ruby Rose was still playing the role. So yeah, like I said, I guarantee you there's probably, and I guarantee you, there is going to be bad reviews on this. People saying that this episode was hot garbage, a hot mess. It was trash, yada, yada, yada. Listen, all I'm just bringing to the forefront is, listen, just look at this season as a soft reboot with some storylines carrying over from season 1, and come into this show with an open mind and actually say, like, okay, yes, was it not to my liking, but it was okay. I thought this season premiere was actually pretty good, and I think people are saying it was a hot garbage, it was hot trash, and it was a mess. I think people are not looking, open-mindedly and saying, you know what, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was, or I thought it was going to be. I think people who are going to say it's just hot garbage from the jump, whether you're just saying that on media or just YouTube as a whole, because I just looked up on YouTube and there are some people that have been saying, I'm not going to specify, but there are some people saying that this was hot garbage, this was a trash heap, nothing's changed, yada, yada, yada. One, it's only one episode of the first season. So one, I don't know why you guys are already condemning the show to begin with, when it's only one episode and we haven't had the full season. I say critique the entire season. Yes, you can critique your episodes here and there, but critique the season in its entirety when the entire season's done and go back and say, okay, this was hot garbage of a season. But I think people who go like that, they're just carrying their hatred from season one onto this, and they're not giving this show a chance. They're not giving Javicia Leslie a good chance to explain her character more into detail as we see her as she starts to be, more in this role and stuff like that. Like I said, I thought this season premiere of Batwoman was pretty good. I don't really buy into the haters. So again, if you put in the comment section like you hate this show, I'm not really gonna care. I'm gonna be like, okay, you're entitled to your own opinion. I'll respect that. But at least come into this show with an open mind and stuff like that. At least, at the least, give it 5 episodes. And if you don't like it, and that's my thing about the haters. Like, they continuously go back to watch shows they hate to try to prove out, see, this is why it sucks when you're giving the show more publicity and stuff like that. So it's like, why freaking say all that stuff when, and that's why I don't understand haters. If you don't like a show, don't watch it. You don't have to keep continuously watching just to trash it and hate it. But I thought it was good. So, I guess this my way of saying to the haters or the other YouTubers in the YouTube community that hated on this week's Batwoman episode, I guess I'm giving y'all the middle finger because I didn't see what you guys are talking about. I thought it was actually pretty good. Again, I looked at this with an open mind. I honestly, and like I said earlier, I'm actually a person that actually liked the first season. I liked the first season because of the story. Can you say some actor performances were good? Okay, fine. But I liked the story. I liked the story of Batwoman, of where they took the story and making it a very personal, family-driven, centric type of thing. The other thing, I'll give you your points. But I think if you just focus on the clear-cut story, I think it's actually a pretty solid enough story. It's not the greatest story, but I think it's a solid story that stands alone on its own. So, yeah, but that's all I got to do. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Again, hope you guys have a great rest of your day and stay safe out there.